Okay, for the Master of Ceremony, could you please open this session, I think, because the time is already 3 o'clock.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, Dr. Sudarno, to be our moderator in this room. First of all, I would like to say welcome to all presenters who would like to present your research and your paper. Our moderator is Dr. Sudarno. Excuse me, is it clear? Are you able to listen my voice?
No, it's clear.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Sudarno is head of Environmental Engineering Department, Engineering Faculty of Universitas Diponegoro. He will be our moderator today. So to all participants, to all presenters, good luck. And Dr. Sudarno, time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Master of Ceremony. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, yeah, let me introduce myself. My name is Sudarno. Here I as a moderator for this parallel sessions, and I think presenter already know that there are 15 minutes for the presentation. I mean 10 minutes for presentation, and then for 5 minutes for the question and answer. Yeah, I think please keep this time is tightly. Yeah, and I think for the first presentation, I check first. Wait. The first presentation is Mrs. Rani Tias Budianti. For the Mrs. Rani Tias Budianti, time is yours. Excuse me, the Mrs. Rani Tias Budianti already joined this room or not yet?
Excuse me, sir. I think Ms. Rani Tias Budianti has not joined with us today.
Yeah, I read in this. We start with this. The second presenter or the third?
And the second presenter still with the same presenter, which is Ms. Rani Tias Budianti. And I think we can move to the third presenter, which is number 1545, sir.
Okay, so 1545 also already joined or not yet?
Is there Mr. Argyo Demartoto here, or maybe the representative? And Mr. Astadi Pangarso, or maybe the representative?
Also not yet. So we start with this. We move to the I think with the Mrs. Hargianti Dini Iswandiri. So for the Mrs. Dini, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
With my respect to moderator, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to talk about the evaluation of pulmonary tuberculosis control program at Bandarharjo Community Health Center, Semarang City in year 2021. Before we begin our presentation, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Hargianti Dini Iswandiri, and my friends are Mr. Sigit Tiarto and Mr. Harsono. We are lecturers in the Health informatics study program of Video Sada Semarang University with a different scientific background. May you will ask why we raise this topic. This is the reason. Apart from the fact that the morbidity rate in Indonesia and the world is still high, also because tuberculosis is a comorbid COVID-19 that is currently shaking the world, and Indonesia is the number 2 countries in the world after India, which has the highest burden due to tuberculosis. In 2019, WHO reported data about the top 10 causes of death worldwide. The top 3 diseases are related to cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, and neonatal condition. The development of the quality of human resources is the priority target. One of the efforts to realize quality human resources is the eradication of tuberculosis disease. On this year World Tuberculosis Day, WHO raised the theme, the clock is ticking. That means the more limited time or little time left. WHO set tuberculosis eradication target by the years 2030, and all countries are committed to it, including Indonesia. This is the objective of the research, to evaluate the implementation of the TB control program by exploring the input, processes, and output of systems that already running in the Bandar Harjo Community Health Center, Semarang. After discussing the objective of the study, the next slide is about methodology. This is a qualitative research, starting in February and ending in April 2021. The number of informants is 10 people from health sector and 25 people from non-health sector. From health sector, consisting the person in charge of the TB program in Semarang City, TB program holder at the community health center, TB file supervisor, manager of the TB program, and laboratory staff. From non-health sector consisting TB cadres, health cadres, health surveillance personnel, and local community members. Data collection techniques were in-depth interviews, observation, document reviews, and focus group discussion. After discussing methodology, we are going to discuss the research result. These are some findings in the input inside. Community health center officer has to handle various programs so that the treatment of tuberculosis is not priority. Community health center has a molecular rapid test machine, so sputum examination can be done on the spot. Do not have to taken to a referral hospital like Dr. Karyadi Hospital. Because of limitation, there is no special space. Some space are utilized multifunction. For example, there is no special room to sleep. Due to limited funds, there is no mass or periodic screening. No health operation assistant fund, as if a routine work. There is no incentive or fees for cadres, and it indirectly leads to the decrease in motivation. Findings on the input side were apparently related to the findings on the process side, namely, the empowerment of TB discovery does not work correctly. Lack of monitoring and supervision causing the target coverage of TB suspect is not achieved. Need good supervision for officer and cadres to improve the performance and the detection of TB sufferers. The health officer needs cooperation and complementary supervision for all health facilities belonging to the government, private sectors, and independent health professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, the success of the program has always compares the result of activities with target determined nationally. Some of them are written on this slide and more are written in full paper. For example, target of new cases, positive acid resistant bacteria, was 117 in 100,000 population. Case detection rate increased from year to year but was still below the target. National target cure rate is 85%. The highest is 63 out of 60 in 2019. The lowest is 13 out of 54 in 2017. National target conversion rate, that means acid-resistant bacterial positive converted to negative, is 100%. The highest is 97% in 2019. The lowest is 19.02% in 2016. National target success rate is 80%. The highest is 87% in 2015, and the lowest is 64% in 2016. This is the conclusion. The implementation system from year to year does not match the national target. And finally, this is our suggestion. Needs to be more scrutiny of all healthcare facilities and health workers who practice independently so that data is not spread and potentially underreported. Necessary to intensify the mass screening of tuberculosis in vulnerable and high-risk groups. Need to conduct a massive contact investigation. Necessary to gather strength from stakeholders to pay attention to the welfare and safety of health data. Need to prepare application that makes the work of cadres and supervisors easier. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all about our presentation, and thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mrs. Dini. And I think good presentation, also interesting result of your research, I think, yeah. And yeah, we still have 5 minutes for the question and answer session. If someone have question, just raise hand or directly give a question, please.
Maybe resent this. No. Oral this.
Yeah.
No one, sir. Thank you.
Not yet, I think.
Sorry for Azan here. Maybe the sound is not clear.
Any question? Just remind you that after this, Master of Ceremony will give a link. So all presenter, also participant, please fill the attendance form, yeah, in the chat room, I think. So just fill in this attendance form. Okay, no questions until now. Mrs. Dini, I have a question, and we wait. Maybe the other will have a question. Yeah, I'm not sure about it. Maybe you already mentioned in your presentation, yeah. But could you please little bit explain about what the urgency of doing this research? Yeah, about this research. What's urgency actually? Thank you.
Okay. Maybe I begin not the urgency, but the reason why.
Mhm.
Tuberculosis is comorbidity for COVID-19, sir.
Mhm.
And also comorbidity, with tuberculosis in our family, we can make the child or children can uh, have tuberculosis too. So they need comorbidity for something. That's why we and me and my team feel that it's very urgent to make the research because tuberculosis is now 130 years in this earth and no can decrease. And we only have uh, 2030. That's time is not the time is limit.
Mhm.
That's all countries is what I got. WHO is um, this time 2030. The tuberculosis must eradicate.
Mhm.
In Indonesia's eradicasi is more maybe not easy, sir.
So we have still only 9 years, yeah, until
Yeah,
2020.
only 9 years.
Mhm.
Maybe we want more than 20 years more, and no time limit, no
Okay.
time for that. Because if you can eradicate TB or control the TB, many what's that? Many penyakit can move there.
Illness, yeah.
Yeah, many illness.
Mhm. Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Dini. And I think the time is already up. And once again, thank you very much, Mrs. Dini. And if someone have question, maybe later the session can make a contact directly to Mrs. Dini to have the more discussion.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much,
much.
sir.
Yeah, and give a big applause to Mrs. Dini. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and I think now presentation, the next presentation. If Mrs. Ranitias Budiati already joined with us or not yet?
Okay, for which
Okay.
article?
Yeah. Okay, I think for the first article about barrier factor and also after that about food craving during COVID.
Okay, for the first article, we are ready.
Okay, thank you. So time is yours.
Okay, excuse me, but who is share screen? Me or from?
Well, I think you can share screen
Okay.
if I have a problem, and then master of ceremony can share screen. Please.
Okay. Thanks for the time that has been given to me. First, let me present our research of our group research. Okay. Our research is entitled Barrier Factors Related to COVID-19 Vaccine Literacy in the Developing Countries, a Traditional Literature Review. Our team is Rani Tias Budiandi and me, Roro Isyawati Permata Ganggi, and also Murni. Why this topic is getting interesting for our research team is first because coronavirus disease or COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by coronavirus or SARS-CoV-2. Can be transmitted through droplets so that the transmission is very fast. World Health Organization has stated COVID-19 as a pandemic because it has spread almost all over the world, and several efforts were made in order to suppress the spread of COVID-19, such as a campaign to implement health protocols. Health protocols that need to be done to max avoiding crowds and reducing mobility. Health protocols is just a preventive effort, but has not been able to suppress the adverse effect when a person is infected with a COVID-19. So we need a vaccine so that the effect of COVID-19 do not become more serious for sufferers. Vaccine is a virus or a bacteria that is still alive but has been disabled. COVID-19 vaccine is expected to stimulate the body to form immunity to SARS-CoV-2 so that if infected, then a person will avoid severe pain and reach herd immunity. The COVID-19 vaccination campaign faces several challenges, including production, affordability, allocation, and deployment. Some countries have carried out the campaign of COVID-19 vaccine, but in its implementation, there are a rejection of a vaccine, especially in developing countries in Asia. The rejection of a vaccine, especially in developing countries, arises due to skepticism about the long-term effect and the safety of vaccine. Fake news triggers hesitance about the vaccine consideration, so leads the rejection. Related to this, the authors try to dig further information related to factors that become a barrier in the literacy of vaccine COVID-19 in the developing countries. So for this research, we use the method is traditional literature review. The first step, we search for specific keywords in from journal articles in a ProQuest, Scopus, ScienceDirect, Google Scholar, and EBSCOhost database, which were published in 2013 until now. And the second step, we're conducting a review from our article that were collected. And the next step, we analyze and critical appraisal. And the last step, we are writing a review. From the research, we have two results. Okay, the first result is about a representation about COVID-19 vaccine literacy in developing countries. COVID-19 vaccine literacy in the part of health literacy, which is a knowledge, motivation, and competency to access, understand, and apply about COVID-19 vaccination and making decisions in their life regarding about COVID-19 vaccination to improve quality of life. This literacy is a balance between individuals, community, and also population skill in a complexity system. Literacy skills regarding COVID-19 vaccination are very important for people to process data and experience related with vaccination programs to improve critical and systematic thinking and make a decision whether accepted the vaccination or not. In another country, we know that most of the respondents said they want to postpone vaccination until the safety of the vaccine could be ascertained. In addition, vaccination history, doctor recommendation, convenience, and a vaccine price are also taken into consideration. In our country, Indonesia, okay, we found that the research, most of respondents, about 65%, agree with the COVID-19 vaccination. 27% respondents still unsure, and 8% rejected. Most people who refuse vaccine because they still doubt its safety and do not believe that vaccination will be effective. Meanwhile, a minority of others state that they didn't believe in a vaccine, fear side effect, religious reason, and other reasons. So the vaccine hesitancy about the safety and efficacy of the vaccine, testing of a vaccine before launch, and lack of a trust in government agency. And the main result from our research is about the barrier factors that related with a COVID-19 vaccine literacy. We found 4 factors. The first is a lack of valid information and digital literacy. Based on previous studies, most people decide whether to reject or accept vaccination, so are influenced by information about the level of effectiveness and safety of a vaccine. So that valid information about vaccination from reliable source is very important in determining someone's decision. Doctor recommendation, accessing official source, and massive health promotion regarding the safety of vaccination are ways of overcoming vaccine safety hesitancy. Even so, digital literacy problems in communities, especially in developing areas, are still crucial. Abundant information, which is often referred to as an epidemic, makes it difficult for a person to sort out valid data and information and determine which data to trust, especially in the current era of the Internet of Things, where data can be exchanged quickly either through the web, social media, or instant messaging. This is further exacerbated by the spread of hoax news related to vaccinations, such as conspiracy theory and so on. And the second factor, we found a lack of information access. Besides of difficulty to access valid information, many regions in the developing countries have difficulties in obtaining updated health information because of their limited access. Infrastructure development to support information technology has not been evenly distributed, causing society just rely on local health personnel and cadres to get healthy information. Although the level of information credibility from health personnel more valid and reliable, but it will be the problem if the health resource and limited the distributed unevenly. In this case, a strategy regarding the dissemination of COVID-19 vaccination information needs to be developed, such as using print media in a form of brochure or leaflet that can be distributed to community, and use of mass media as a means of disseminating credible information related to vaccine also needs to be done, and involving community leaders also need to be done so that health information can also be conveyed in a local community meetings. The third factors is low educational.
Okay, so, pardon, Mrs. Roro, could you please speed up your presentations?
Okay, for the local education degree, we know that ability in the thinking process through system and critical thinking needs to be developed, and the last factor is cultural perspective. Some of the resistance of vaccination arises from beliefs that are developed and passed down from generation to generation in society. And the conclusion of our research is based on the research, there are many barrier factors related COVID-19 vaccine literacy, such as low educational degree, lack of information access, lack of digital literacy, lack of valid information, and also cultural perspective. So, in order to succeed the COVID-19 vaccine campaign, there need to be effort to improve the ability of individual to detect fake news and health information, especially vaccine information, improve information access, improve critical and system thinking habit, and involve of community leader in COVID-19 vaccine campaign. Okay, this is the end of our presentation. Thank you, Mr. Sudarno.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Roro. Nice presentation. Also, a good review for this research. Any question from audience, please? Yeah, Mrs. Roro explained present about many barrier factor about the COVID vaccine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I have a question, Mrs. Roro, and we wait maybe for other question. Yeah. You mentioned in the conclusion that the one of factor of the barrier is about the lack of the but about low education degree. So it's
Yes.
mean lower education degree and then more how to call it, more barrier. Isn't but sometimes even the people have the higher education, they avoid to get the vaccine, COVID vaccine. Could you please explain about it?
Okay, the low educational degree, yes, the valid and reliable information not just make someone decide to receive the vaccine, and but educational degree in this condition will influence someone to imagine and make conclusion, belief, and determine action. And sometimes the educational degree is make someone to have ability in the thinking process through the system and critical thinking needs to be developed. This is the this is the mind of situation that although higher education does not always guarantee that someone is able to thinking critically and systematically, but based on the research about knowledge, attitude, practice, and perception of COVID-19, it's many level education and profession make a different perception that were formed. So that's the answer.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Roro.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sudarno.
Any question for audience? We still have a time, 3 minutes. Sorry.
I think no question
Yeah,
for me, Mr. Sudarno.
Yeah. Or maybe
I have one question, Pak
okay,
Sudarno.
Yeah, please, Mrs. Anissa.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Roro, I want to ask you what the method you use to get those 4 barriers. Why just only 4 barriers? Thank you, Ms. Roro.
Okay, thank you for the question, Ms. Anissa. Okay, we use method literature review, traditional literature review. So we collected article from ProQuest, Scopus, SenseDirect, Google Scholar, also EBSCOhost, and we specific the date of the article between 2013 years until now. Okay, and we collected all and we review one by one. First from the abstract, and then when the abstract is make sure, so we what's this? We read all of the article, and why just for as I explained that this is not just the end of the research. It must be updated again and again because too many factors. It's just the whole of factors that found in too many countries, developing countries, not just not specific factors like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Roro. Also the question from the Mrs. Anissa, and yeah, I think the time is over for the Mrs. Roro presentation. So please give applause to the Mrs. Roro Isa. Okay, everyone. Next, the presentation is about the food craving during COVID-19 pandemic, and I think Mrs. Rani Tias Pudianti or the colleague will present about it.
Yes, sir.
Time is yours, Mrs.
Yes.
Murni.
Have my presented was seen and my voice was here, sir?
Yeah, it's always me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Chair and Miss and Mr. I was here for presentation about my article research, and the title of article is Food Craving during COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on health. We know that the coronavirus disease 19 or COVID-19 pandemic has infected all over the world, including Indonesia. Many strategies have been done by government to reduce the spread of COVID-19, such as optimizing tracing, testing, and treatment. The implementation of strict health protocols, such as social distancing policies, people are asked to keep their distance and reduce the activity outside at home. The people optimize activity at home either by working from home or study from home. The policy also affect the people behavior and lifestyle, making them bored and stressed, and also affect the food consumption. It is make the interaction with the another person by online, so it is make the mental pressure and lead the condition of namely food craving. If the food craving is not controlled, this is lead to metabolic syndrome. And the research aims to know the food craving during COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia and its impact on healthy. The method of the research, we use the quantitative research with a descriptive analytic approach, and then include the 1,015 respondents with incidental method, and inclusion criteria was respondent have 17 until 50 years old and can use the smartphone. And then the result of the research, we can show that the table 1 of respondent characteristic, we can show that the 16.7% respondent are in the age of 17 until 20 years old and have a level of education with bachelor degrees. And then the table 2, we can show that food craving during COVID-19 pandemic, most of them 69.3% consume fast food, sweet food, and sweet beverage when feeling the stress and bored during the COVID-19 pandemic. However, only 42% consume more food than usual. And then the table 3, we can show that the research 16 4% of respondents experience food craving during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then the discussion based on the Cow et al. In 2016, female has a stronger association between the food craving and eating psychopathology. And food craving on healthy food can lead to metabolic syndrome such as obesity, hypertension, hypercholesterol, and hyperglycemia that can make someone vulnerable, especially in the COVID-19 pandemic. This condition can lead to the increase in morbidity and mortality rate. In addition, treatment for the people with non-communicable disease such as a conscious economy, especially during in 20,000 and society, work and stress contribute to the sweet craving phenomenon. So that mental awareness, physical activity, stress management should be improved, and the dissemination of the hoax need cause anxiety in the vegetable and fruit should also be included as a substitute to a snack and unhealthy food. In the conclusion, food craving during the COVID-19 pandemic can lead to obesity and another metabolic syndrome because it is the tendency of unhealthy food consumption, such as a fast food, sweet food, and sweet beverage. To prevent this condition, we need to improve mental awareness, psycho activity, and stress management. And information management on hugs and education about the healthy food also must be done. This is my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have any question, please ask. Thank you, Sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Murni. Any question, please? So actually, the pandemic bring not only about COVID, yeah, but also brings many negative impact.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, any question, please? Mrs. Murni, I have a question. Actually, the COVID pandemic is since last year, yeah, last year. It's mean to 2020. But I read from your presentation, there are several reference you took, but the reference is already right down before COVID pandemic COVID. Could you a little bit explain about it? I mean,
Sir,
the reference you use it.
The reference we use because it is just the description, and we will later the process to more the research that the other factor, not just the description, sir. It is your process. It more the factor such as a sugar tech about the overconsume sugar food and sugar drinks like this.
So you mean actually the unhealthy habit to consumption fast food, the sweet food, and etc. Not only due to the COVID pandemic, but that are also when the people stay the most of the house, and then the people have the unhealthy habit, isn't it?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. We still have time, 2 minutes, if you have a question. Okay, not yet. Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Murni, for the good presentation, also for the literature review, and please give applause to Mrs. Murni.
Thank you, Mr. Suderno.
Okay, thank you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and the next presentation is Mrs. Argyo Dimartoto or the colleague, and they will present about the optimization of public toilet maintenance in COVID-19 pandemic era. I check. Master of ceremony, could you check it if Mr. Artio Dimartono already come, already joined, or not yet?
Already video.
Not yet, yeah.
Yeah.
And for the 1551, already joined or not yet also?
I can speak Indonesia, what?
Yeah, of course.
Dari Pargio mengirimkan video kepada kami, jadi kami izin share screen untuk videonya.
Okay, it doesn't matter. So, ladies and gentlemen, so the Mrs. Argyo Dimartono already sent us a video, and the Master of Ceremony will share the video the Mr. Argyo already sent us. Please. And later, if you have question about it, please just write in the chat, and then we forward it into the Mr. Argyo Dimartono. Excuse me, I didn't hear the sound yet. Suaranya bisa dimunculkan?
We are a lecturer from Department of Sociology, Universitas 11 Maret, Surakarta, Indonesia. As we know, that COVID-19 is transmitted through not only nose or mouth droplet, but also phases of human infected with virus. Such conditions require people to keep good private and public toilet clean. Also disease-free. For that reason, a policy is required to appeal to the people to plan public toilet competition as rules and to maintain it routinely. We use a method qualitative with case study approach in several slums area such as Semanggi, Sangkra, Ujang Sawit, Jebres, Nusukan, and also Mojosongo, Surakarta, Central Java, Indonesia. We use also purposive sampling technique. For primary data, we use in-depth interview, and for secondary data, we use document and social media. For validated data, we use short triangulation and then data analysis interactive. The results show that some factor causing many people still defecting haphazardly in Surakarta. Firstly, no toilet or no fund to construct it. Secondly, limited access to clean water. Thirdly, population dense urban settlement community-based total sanitation approach appear as the government's response to optimize the clean lines of toilet by community. So, 5 pillars of CBTS, stopping haphazard defecting, and then washing hand using soap, managing drinking water and food, managing rubbish, and managing liquid waste. This approach is implemented to both rural and urban communities. This environment management system in Indonesia in toilet case in Surakarta is represented by the development of regulation containing the requirement to build visibility toilet and the development new programs with community-based total sanitation approach. So our conclusion is dirty life environment makes the people vulnerable to disease infection, worryingly to be assumed as the symptom of COVID-19. One thing needing to consider is toilet clean lines because experts said that COVID-19 is transmitted through, among other phases. In addition, the community-based total Indonesians' behavior in order to pay more attention to environment clean lines and to maintain health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Nice video. I think that is actually very interesting to discuss about the public toilet corresponding to the pandemic COVID at the moment. But yeah, we still have a discussion with the Mr. Argo Demantoro, but I mean the audience can write the question or comment into the chat, and then after that we forward it into the Mr. Argo Demartono. Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we continue with the next presenter, and I do not see the Mr. Astadi Pangarso on the 1551. So we continue into the Miss Anissa, yeah. She already joined with us, and she will present about the application of GRI model to predict COVID-19 in Indonesia. So, Mrs. Anissa, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pak Sudarno, for the opportunity. I will share screen. Is my slide clearly?
Okay, clear, good.
Okay.
Go on.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to present my paper. Before it, I want to introduce myself. My name is Anissa. I'm from Agency for the Assessment and Application of Technology, BPPT Jakarta. And today, my paper with title Application of GRI Model to Predict COVID-19 in Indonesia. Okay, this is our outline. First, introduction, and then second method, third result, and fourth is conclusion. For the first introduction, we know that the first case reported, a positive case reported pandemic happened in Indonesia is on 2nd of March 2020, and then many affected area have been affected, like health, humanitarian, and then social, economic, financial, even tourism. And what about the government? The government do many efforts too, like a lockdown, rapid test, travel ban, physical distancing, work from home, school from home, even now a vaccine program. And now we join in this room together, a conference from home. Okay, and actually, many mathematical model have been proposed, have been proposed to predict this pandemic. And this in my paper, I want to propose my simple forecasting model, time series. I hope that my prediction, my model can give decision maker to make a right decision. Okay, and the method, first, the data I collect from covidtrack.bppt.co.id and also covid19.co.id, and the data is I analyzed from 2nd of March 2020 until 6th of July 2021. And the method I use in this paper is 5 methods. First is traditional GM 1.1, and then Gray-Markov, Gray-Verhulst, and the modification of traditional one with using Fourier series of error residual, and Gray-Verhulst using modification using Fourier series of error residual. And how about this model accuracy? I also count the model accuracy examination. Okay, this is a Gray model. I want to talk a little about Gray model. First time introduced by Deng at 1982, and this model is to predict time series based on recent data, so and need limited amount of data. So this is one of the benefit of the Gray model, because we don't need amount of data but just a limited amount of data, and the data assumption is positive, and so we and the processing computational processing is more effective, because the program is not too complex like the other methods. Okay, this is the mathematical behind this model. Given x0 is original data sequence by x0, x01, blah 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 until x0 n, where n is the number of days observed, and we define x1 is new data sequence by x1 equals to x11 until x1n, where x1k is the sum of the original data sequence by like this, sigma I equals 1 until k, x0i, k1 until m. And the generated mean square z1 of x1 is defined as like this, where x1k is the mean value of adjacent data. Okay, and using the equation, the first equation here, we can approach the model using and solve it using ordinary differential equation, and of course using inverse accumulated generating operation. The prediction for x0 denoted by x prediction xp here, xp0 is the equation like this. And using the same method, the prediction for Gray-Verhulst for x0 at time k is like this. Okay, how about the modification? The modification here is about error residual. So we define the error sequence of prediction. Error 0 equals to error 02 until n, where error 0k is the data minus the prediction. So the above equation here can be approached by Fourier series as follow. So the corrected data become XPF like this: the prediction minus the error of prediction. Okay. And the last is Gray Markov. So if we talk about Markov, of course, we talk about a transition probability matrix. So this is the foundation. So we get X prediction, the sequence of the prediction is a Markov chain. So we divide it into HI states according to the interval. In here, we divide into 4 states. So we must to find A, B, C, D. This is upper, lower, uppermost, and lowest line, limit line. So we can find the transition probability, and then we can calculate the forecast value like this. Okay, and the model, the 5 model I told you before is examined by this model accuracy examination. I use RPE and MAP, relative percentage error is equal to absolute value of the data minus the prediction divided by the data, and then times 100%, and MAP is the average of the RPA. So we get the conclusion here, the smaller RPA and MAP, the better the accuracy. Okay, this is the result. The result of GM 1.1, we find that the prediction is like this, the exponential based, of course. And then this model fitting and prediction for GM 1.1 and GM 1.1 Fourier. It can be seen from the line, the blue line is GM 1.1, and the red one is the GM modification. You can see here that the model fitting of modification of GM 1.14 is good, is accurate enough, but the prediction is going down here. And the GM 1.1, the prediction is still increasing. And the second one is Gray Markov. Gray Markov, we see that is the red line here, red line in the middle of the other line, and this is the uppermost limit line, the magenta one, and the lowest is the green one. And for the Gray Markov is still increasing too for the prediction. And the last is model fitting and prediction of Gray-Verhulst. Gray-Verhulst you see here in the blue line is below the data. So both the fitting and the prediction is not good enough. But the modification of Gray-Verhulst is accurate enough. You can see from the red line here. And but also the prediction is going down. Okay, you can see the result here from the model accuracy examination. We get GM 1.1, GM 1.1 modification, Gray Markov, Gray-Verhulst, and Gray-Verhulst modification here. For the fitting value here, we can see the smallest MAP is achieved by Gray-Verhulst Fourier is 0.05, and the forecast value, I use the 3 data here, 7, 8, and 9 of July, and the smallest one is achieved by GM 1.1 here. Okay, so the conclusion is for the best fitting model, Gray-Verhulst modification using Fourier series of error residual, it can prove us that the modification can improve the performance of Gray-Verhulst, traditional Gray-Verhulst. And because the data don't have a lot of fluctuation and data sequence increase like as in an S curve. And for the best forecasting model is GM 1.1 because the data sequence is increasing monotonously. Thank you, Pak. Thank you, Pak Sudarno. Back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Anissa. I still remember in the beginning of the pandemic, many people said that in Indonesia the COVID pandemic will end. I mean, will finish in the September month. This based on the model and etc. And then actually the COVID pandemic still growing, growing at this time. This is very interesting about the model we use for the pandemic COVID. Yeah. Okay. Any question to Mrs. Anissa, please? We still have 5 minutes for the question and answer session. Oh, Mrs. Anissa, could you give comment about what I just said? That many people said the September will finish and etc. And until now, the pandemic COVID is still continue.
Yes, yes, sir. Actually, I have analyzed the data when for the first pandemic until June, 2nd of June 2020, and my prediction is the pandemic is over one month later. but yeah, I think this is of the data, the dynamical of the data, like the Dr. Budi Warsito, yeah, at the keynote speaker says that if I what's that count the data for that period, the result is the peak is N at the 1 month after June, but actually, in the reality, it can still increasing like that, Mr. Sudarno.
Okay. So also this model, I mean the accurate, I mean the model, we can use the model for the general, or maybe we use the model for the specific nation, country.
I think this model can apply in many areas because actually this is not a pandemic model. Maybe you hear that a pandemic model like a SEER, and the compartment model is just been proposed to predict this outbreak. But this is a time series, a simple model, but this is a successfully method used in many areas, including disease prediction. So I try to use this model because it effectively in computational programming. So I just it's I think it's good enough, and the prediction, and for the previous paper, it tell that GM 1.1 and then the modification is good. I think, yeah, it's true. I applied in this case.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Anissa. Actually, I have more questions, but due to the time, I think,
okay.
Yeah, but interesting research, I think. Yeah, for the presentation from Mrs. Anissa, give me applause for her, I think. Okay, thank you very much once again. And next presentation, I think Mr. Astadi Pangarso, I think already joined in this group. Or representative from the Mr. Arsadi Pangarso. Wait, someone already tell me that the presenter Astadi Pangarso already joined, but okay, wait. Okay, so, I'm sorry due to the technical problem. So next presentation is Mr. Iwan Suryati already come. Okay, yeah, I think already, yeah. Mr. Iwan Suryati, you will present about the individual characteristic and concentration and etc. So time is yours, Mr. Iwan Suryati.
Yes, thank you. Please permission to the share screen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Introduce myself. My name is Iwan Suryadi, together with friend Siti Rahmawati and Labiba Lutfiani. My presentation, this article, individual characteristic and concentration of rice milling dust with lung vital capacity disorder. Table of content, background, method, result, and discussion, and conclusion. Previous background, exposure to workplace pollution is one of the major sources of health risk. An estimate 12% of the mortality from chronic obstructive pulmonary disease had been attributed to occupational exposure to airborne particulate. The prevalence of chronic restricted lung disease in Indonesia is 3.7%, with the highest prevalence being the province of Nusa Tenggara at 10%, and then for Central Java at 3.4%. And then Kerjo subdistrict Karanganyar Regency is the one of the area with a mainstay of agriculture commodity in the form of rice. Method, research design with observational study, and then cross-sectional approach, and then sampling with a total sampling. There are 50 respondents. A measure of work environment based on SNE 167058 2004 using a high volume sampler or HVAS, and then loss function measurement with a spirometry, and statistical test with a Spearman rank. Result, there are 4 tables in the slide. Table 1 about the frequency tendency of respondent, characteristic, variable age and work period, maximum 57 years and minimum 28 years, and the work period maximum 14 years and minimum 2 years. And bifariate analysis, dust content, work period, age, PPE, and smoking at a significant or independent variable about lung function capacity. Discussion, lung function will decrease as people get older. Age is related to the aging process or increasing age or the older of person. The higher the likelihood of lung function capacity, the age of 20 for 14 years is the maximum muscular strength is a person, and they will be reduced by 20% after the age of 40 years. Most of the study respondents were in the smoking group. However, in the both smoking and non-smoking group, there were respondents who experienced lung function disorder. but the number of respondents who experienced lung function disorder in the smoking group was higher. The use of PPE, personal protection equipment, in the form of mask or nose cover is one of the factors that affect lung function disorder. So the majority of respondents did not use PPE while working in the group using PPE or not, but had lung function problem. However, the number of respondents who did not use PPE was higher with lung function disorder. Sumakmur explained that continued exposure to dust can cause irritation of the lower respiratory tract. Long-term exposure to dust, more specifically, that grain dust can cause chronic effects such as obstructive pulmonary and disease about byssinosis. Dust particle can cause various types of respiratory disease and air pollution. The study found a link between dust exposure and impaired lung function. This is supported by Muhammadin et al. And Said et al. While workers who are exposed to dust have a risk of developing lung function problem compared to dust who are not exposed. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting about the conclusion. Conclusion is there is an influence between the level of work environment, dust with pulmonary function disorder in rice milling disorder with average dust content level of 0.7335 milligram per meter cubic that has exceeded the according to Minister of Manpower number 5 2018 suggestion technician by improving ventilation or installation exhaust fan for the rice milling so that air circulation in the grinding chamber is smooth and suppress exposure to inhaled dust to work use personal protection equipment. Maybe that's enough. Thank you. I will back to Mr. Sudarno.
Thank you very much, Mr. Iwan Suryati. Good presentation. That's about this individual characteristic and concentration of rice mill dust, penggilingan beras in bahasa. Any question about it? Okay, Mr. Iwan Suryati, how many sample? I mean, how many location about this mill dust, rich mill dust you take?
Location there are 25 rice milling dust.
25, yeah.
25, but the correspondent 50 of the all 25 rice milling dust.
Okay, I think it's many correspondent you already you took, I think. Yeah, and one question also. In conclusion, you mentioned about the people have the smoking habit, and there are not really correlation between the people which have the smoking habit and this I mean the effect of the in the mist dust. Could you explain it?
This research I found it about smoking habit. I will found in questionnaire two category smoke and no, but the majority of the respondent smoke, and then I will cross step with lung function disorder. I found it a majority influence lung function disorder about smoking habit.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Iwan Suryati. And I think we still have time. If anyone have question, just raise hand or say. No question. Okay, I think it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, so once again, Mr. Iwan Suryati, thank you very much for your presentation, and please give applause to Mr. Iwan Suryati. Thank you very much. And next, the next presenter is Mr. Sugeng Marianto. So Mr. Sugeng Marianto will present research with title Development of Local Food with High Nutritional Value. So, Mr. Sugeng Marianto, time is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sudarno. Do you hear clearly about my son?
Yeah, it's okay. It's clear.
Okay. Actually, I sharing screen myself to you. Is it clear, Mr. Sudarno?
Okay. Yeah, it's already good. Go on.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to present it about my research. Really, my research is not exact in epidemiology area. Because epidemiology generally study on human, but my research is study in functional food. So I try to correlating about functional food local area with case epidemiology cases. Okay. I want to myself. My name is Kumarianto. The team with my friend Indri Mulyasari, Adelina Sari, Vidya Wardani. I'm from Universitas Mutualia. About the presentation is include background, research purposes, material method, result and discussion, and conclusion. Why I study to SWOT? You know, maybe all of in this room knows about SWOT. SWOT is plant that can grow well throughout Indonesia, including especially in Gunung Pati, Semarang, Side, Central Java. The tubers have enormous potential in producing plant as a source of fat and fiber. Tubers have been used as an alternative flour source beside wheat flour. Flour as a food ingredient commonly consumed by Indonesian people was generally made from wheat flour. Processed products made from wheat flour include noodles, brownies, cookies, bread, and biscuit, and etc. This product made from wheat flour include noodle, brownies, yogurt, and biscuit. This product has become a daily menu for some people as snack. The very high consumption of wheat flour-based processed product makes wheat flour a staple food equivalent to rice. However, most of the fulfillment of domestic wheat flour comes from import. To solve this problem by seeking alternative local food for food security. Diversification of staple food based on local food is one of the efforts that had been done to reduce dependence on imported wheat flour. Local food that was commonly consumed by Indonesian people is tuber. The tuber group had great potential as an alternative food ingredient that able to develop as a substitute for wheat flour. The group of tuber that have the potential to develop as processed food, for example, is suwak. Suwak is the local name. Suwak to suwak tubers have a potential to be processed into flour as a substitute for wheat flour. However, sugar tubers have a index, low glycemic index, therefore they can be used the low sugar snack. Generally, people consume sugar tuber processes by steaming or just boiling. Based on this condition, an ideal rice for creating food products that we made from sugar tubers. The nutrient contain sugar tuber generally as a source of carbohydrate and fiber. In addition, sugar also has a phytochemical function because it is contain antioxidant such as ascorbic acid, alpha tocopherol, beta carotene, and lycopene. The utilization of sugar was still not optimal. Therefore, it is necessary to increase its utilization in order to produce a high value. Sugar tubers were able to be processed into various processed products to increase nutritional value, extent of life, and variety to food product processing for example, brownies and cookies. This product processing provides business opportunity to develop functional food product based on local food. The importance of developing local food product from suap is rise since they have not been used optimally by the community. The lack of information received by the public regarding the nutritional content of suap had initiated to research on development of local food suap as a high nutritional value snack. The research purposes, the research purpose the study was to the level of preference and to analyze the nutritional value of processed brownies and cookies from suap tube. Then material and method. This research conducted in Agustus 2020. The production or manufacture of suap flour and its formulation was carried out of the food laboratory of the Department of Nutrition, Mutuwalia University, Semarang, Indonesia. This study used an experimental design using three comparison of brownies and cookies formulation, a mixture of wet flour and wet flour of a ratio of Formula 1 F1 is 25 75.
Excuse me, Mr. Sugeng. You still have 5 minutes for the presentation. 5 minutes.
Okay. Thank you. I want to jump to the chart.
Okay.
Yeah. The level of reference of for brownies and at suap flour. This seems that Formula 2 preference level highest in Formula 2 with 95%. The level preference for cookies on Formula 3, the preference level is highest. And this is important, but suap brownies and cookies brownies have energy more high than suap flour or even suap tuber. So suap make the brownies and cookies contribute energy more high. Conclusion this research, the highest level of preference for processed brownies and was the formula with the proportion of wet flour compared to suap F2. High level preference for cookies on 5.3. The nutritional content brownies in 5.2 was carbohydrate 32.56 and so on. And energy was 378.20.
Excuse me, I cannot hear something.
Into functional food and processed food originating from the local area and able to support food security. This is all my presentation. If you will research about functional food or local area food, you can join me in Universitas Ngadiwalia. Thank you. Time yours, Mr. Sudarna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Sugeng Marianto. I think Mrs. Murni will join with your research. I mean, because Mrs. Murni conduct research about the food crafting during COVID, and I think the swag, how to call it, the food swag is good, healthy food, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we still have 5 minutes. If anybody have a question. Okay. I have one question, Mr. Sugeng Marianto. To know if someone like or dislike about the swag brownies, so one parameter you use is color. Yeah. So means you mentioned the parameter is taste, color, aroma, and texture. Could you a little bit expand about the color parameter?
Okay, the color of food at first time, if we will to consume about food, and so it's interesting or not. If the color is not interest, we I think someone no interest. Or the color like red of at in food, but not food grade like textile. I think we think rather not interested.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sugeng Marianto, for the explanation. And any question? Are there any question, please?
May I, sir?
Okay, Mrs. Dini, please.
Very interesting, Mr. Sugeng. I think there's maybe not dislike, yeah, but don't know or lack of information maybe for the pribumi. Or what do you say? Maybe not dislike about suwak, but lack of information. That suwak is very good in health, very healthy. How about
Content of suwak, really we lack of information or little publication about process of suwak to any food another. Like I won't try to brownies and cookies because brownies and cookies daily consumed by community to staple food, makanan selingan. But not just staple food, brownies and cookies work really contribute energy more than half, but carbohydrate is low than wheat flour. So
Low calorie, isn't it? Low calorie, yeah.
Carbohydrate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carbohydrate.
Higher calorie than wheat flour or even sugar. Yes, you're right. We get little information about produce from sugar.
Yeah.
Like that.
I'm agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Mrs. Jini, also the Mr. Sugeng Marianto. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I think we still have one presenter, yeah. So, yeah, but before we come into the next presenter, please give applause to Mr. Sugeng Marianto. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Sugeng Marianto. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Waalaikumsalam. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I check first in the list if Mr. Astadi Pangarso or representative also already joined in this room or not yet. I didn't see it. Okay, maybe, hopefully, yeah, maybe he join to the other rooms. Hopefully. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we come into the end of the sessions. Before we close this session, so this time to make documentation. So we please open the camera. We take a picture together for the documentation. So please, Master of Ceremony, please help me to take a picture. And I check first if everyone already opened the camera or not yet. Please, Master of Ceremony, counting on.
Okay, I will take picture together. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah. Once again, thank you very much for kind attention for all the presenter, also all participants during these sessions. I hope we can get benefit and also wither knowledge from every research that presenters have shared today. And yeah, please give applause for all of us. Thank you very much. And now time to Master of Ceremony.
Okay, I can speak Indonesia.
Yeah, of course.
Kita sudah selesai di akhir acara, namun sebelum mohon maaf, kita akan mengakhiri acara yang di sesi paralel ini, namun dimohon untuk seluruh presenter bisa bergabung ke dalam untuk penutupan acara ICENIS 2021. Jadi nanti ditunggu untuk bergabung lagi di Zoom ICENIS 2021 untuk penutupan. Terima kasih.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.